All right, everybody, here we are for episode 75 of Now Showing with Mike and Wayne. Unfortunately, Wayne has come under the weather this week, so I asked my sister, Carly Kirkpatrick, to step in and co-host with me. We're just going to talk Christmas movies. Carly, when we grew up, Christmas movies is something we used to watch every year around the holidays. What do you remember about those times and how they made you feel?
Oh God, I don't know. It just added to the festiveness of the season, you know. We had a tradition with the neighbors where we would watch Christmas Vacation every Christmas Eve. So our Christmas Eves often weren't spent like with our families, but with all of our neighbors, which were sort of like our adopted families. So we went from like how I think we'd go to like 4 different houses on Christmas Eve night, and it would end at one family's house. And then Christmas Eve wasn't over until we watched Christmas Vacation. So that was sort of, that was sort of something I always look forward to. So I try to do that still now, even though I don't go to all 4 houses and all that stuff. When I come home on Christmas Eve, I definitely put that on. I believe I've already watched Christmas Vacation twice since Thanksgiving. I'll probably watch it again this week before we get to Christmas Eve. So
it's definitely one of the traditions that I think that we both have tried to keep up because fond memories of that film. My number one movie that I put on every Christmas is Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. Obviously, you're familiar, I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My favorite.
I watched it last year with on.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I think we showed Annika last year, but yeah, I did like that one. It had been a long time since I'd seen it, but I watched it. Yeah, I think last year. So
yeah, it's my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol. It's so witty and sarcastic and mean as Bill Murray usually is. Great cast: Bill Murray, Karen Allen from Indiana Jones, John Forsythe, Bobcat Goldthwait, Carol Kane, Robert Mitchum, Michael J. Pollard, Alfred Woodard. Just lots of funny moments, especially with Carol Kane when she plays the ghost of Christmas Present and beats the shit out of him the entire movie. That was hilarious. One of my favorite moments. The cab driver too, David Johansen, the hot guy.
Oh yeah,
the comedian / singer / actor as the ghost of Christmas Past. He was also hilarious. So that's just one of those movies that I have to watch it every. Just like I watch Halloween on Halloween, I have to watch Scrooged every Christmas. But yeah, so I mean, Scrooge has always been one of my favorite Christmas films, and I need to watch it all. I kind of watch it all year round. Usually, I put it on probably one time over the summer just because it's it's hilarious. Who doesn't love Christmas in July? So what's something else, Carly, that you like to turn to around Christmas besides Christmas Vacation?
So I have basically, I would say there are for sure 3 that I'm thinking of that I watch every year. So of course, Christmas Vacation's one of them. Let's say 4 total that we 5. Sorry, they just keep adding on. Okay, so we always watch Christmas Vacation, or at least I do. Love Actually. Okay. Elf has become a more recent one where we seem to watch that one. I've already watched it twice, I think. And then Home Alone, we usually squeeze in at some point. And then the ultimate Christmas movie, Die Hard. So that will come up at some point, So those are sort of the 5 that I have to make sure I watch every year. So they all make an appearance. So unfortunately, I've only watched 2 of the 5. So that means this week we're on to get all 3 of the other ones in. So
you've got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
One of my, there's so many new Christmas movies every year, whether you're a Lifetime fan or a Hallmark fan or Netflix fan in this day and age, they have their own Christmas movies. A couple of ones I like from there, the Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. Those are more kid-friendly, but they're really good. He plays a great Santa Claus. I mean, he's got the natural beard and everything, so it kind of works out perfectly. Hulu, The Happiest Season. I just watched that one again last night. That's the Kristen Stewart dysfunctional family Christmas movie, which came out last year.
Oh, yeah, we watched that last year.
Yeah, I've seen that one probably 3 times now since it came out last year. I really like that one a lot.
That's good.
She's really good in it. Mackenzie, what's her name? Drawing a blank. Mackenzie. We'll call her Mac.
Yeah.
Um, she's really good in it too. It's directed by Clea Duvall, who was in The Faculty. So
Yeah.
I liked her. So when she started directing movies, I've always became interested in what she was doing. But that one's nice because it's I like my that's why I like Scrooge more than some of the other ones. And I guess Christmas Vacation is dysfunctional too, but I like dysfunctional family Christmas movies. Happiest Season, Family Stone, Scrooged. Um, we didn't really talk about Christmas Story. I don't know if that's either one of our favorites.
I've seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Growing up in Chicagoland in the 80s and 90s, like for whatever reason, it must have been like I don't know, like the copyright or something, or they were sold the rights to it, but they played it all
Well,
season long,
yes,
all the time,
TBS
and
still
then
plays it. I think 24 hours on Christmas Eve. So
yes. So I feel like a year doesn't typically go by that I don't see at least a snippet of it because it's just playing everywhere. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I think for me that one, just because I don't know what it was about like the sort of 1950s time period, but it never really that interested me that much. So I think that's why I
yeah,
never was really that keen on that particular movie. But it's a good movie. I mean, it's still a good movie, but it's just not one of my.
it's
It's not in my top 5 stable. Let's put it that way.
well, I think too part of the issue. And Wayne and I, when we talked prison movies last week, we talked Shawshank Redemption. It falls in that category of they've played it way too many times that
Hmm.
you've seen it and you don't need to really watch it all that much again. And
Right.
not to compare Shawshank to Christmas Story because people were probably freaking out right. Yeah, Shawshank is an incredible film, but it was on TV all the time in the 90s and the early
Yeah.
2000s. I feel like I saw Shawshank Redemption like 100 times.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand what that movie is about and would probably be okay if I didn't watch it again the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think we did. We watched it in probably last year. During COVID, we were home so much. Like, you just
Yeah.
ended up watching stuff more, just out of like, well, I haven't seen this one in a while, and so I'm pretty sure we did watch it last year too. And I was like, yeah, I pretty much remember every scene of this movie.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I was
Exactly.
missing it, but here it is. So
Here it is. It's
got
everything I remember.
yep, the leg lamp, the
Yep.
tongue to the pole, those are the big classic ones from that
Yeah, the guy that
particular
put his tongue in
movie.
the pole became an adult movie star.
So
Surprise.
I still remember though as a kid watching that, and I was like, kids, we'd be outside at recess or something, and somebody'd be like, "I'm going to try it," and they would try it, and they'd be like, "Oh, it kind of stuck just a little," but no, nobody ever seemed to hold it long enough to get it as stuck as the kid did in the movie, and
No,
I don't
and I
know
can't
whether
believe
that
first
really
off, I
ends
can't
up.
believe we all tried that. That was dumb.
Yeah, we're dumb. We were dumb. We
Always
didn't have
stands
we didn't have smartphones then. We had nothing better to do than to go do stupid stuff we saw in movies. So
yeah, exactly.
if we had Instagram, we wouldn't be doing such things. So
Well, we'd be doing stupid things we saw on
we'd be doing
Instagram.
other things that we shouldn't be doing. Yeah.
I always feel like I have to remind people when everyone starts making fun of the younger generations for doing stupid shit. I'm like, we everybody in our generation did stupid shit.
We just
So,
didn't record it
yeah,
for
well, they're always like,
posterity in the
well, yeah,
future.
but that was different. I'm like, okay, sure. Destruction of property, hitting
Yeah.
mailboxes. Let's see.
Yeah. I believe in 5th grade I pulled down a lamppost, not
Nice,
intentionally.
nice.
We almost had
Um,
to pay for that.
let's not reveal any evidence on this podcast.
No.
Another one that I kind of like that I think doesn't really get talked about a lot. And it's kind of like a spoof on like Santa Claus is coming to town or Elf, which is a very Harold and Kumar Christmas.
Oh, I did see that, and it's been a long time since I have enjoyed that.
I
Maybe we watched it
really,
last year too.
yeah,
I think
we
it
have
was
it.
in
It's up on
like
Vudu if you guys want to watch. It's
okay.
really funny. It probably has become, I don't know if favorites right, but I put it right up there with the first one. I didn't really care for the second one that much, but
Yeah.
I like this one a lot, and I think it's just because I like cheesy ass Christmas movies. That's what Wayne
Yeah.
and I've been talking about the last couple of years that we've been doing this. Is like I don't know what it is, but I like bad Christmas movies, and they're just enjoyable to me. Fred Claus is another one of those. It's terrible, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
this
gonna
one
say,
is
how did
just
you enjoy the latest Home Alone that Disney put out? Was that
okay.
terrible?
There, I have a line. I have a line, and that movie crossed that line.
Nice, nice. I did
That
not get a
movie was
chance to
terrible.
watch it. I kind of wanted to see it just for morbid curiosity.
You should watch it
Uh,
just to see it, but it is
yeah.
god awful. Wayne and I hated it. One of the worst movies of the year. It
Gotcha.
it just didn't make any sense to why they did it. and it was just, and it's not it's a sequel. It's not really a remake. So
Okay.
it's even trying, then they try to stay in that universe, and it's just
Yeah.
really, really strange. And it really, I haven't talked to you about it because it was one of those ones I just wanted to forget.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I might have actually been listening to the podcast and heard you
okay.
say, like, "Don't watch it." I think though, yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's right up there with like Space Jam 2 and Tom and Jerry as some of the worst movies
Tom and
of
Jerry was pretty bad. Yeah,
that we've reviewed anyway.
I was gonna say, I know it's so funny too living in the Chicagoland area because Home Alone still has very much of, like, an attachment to this
It
region.
does. It
Um
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Oh,
you
okay,
go.
I was gonna say they actually, so in the paper this year, they actually were auctioning off for La Rabida Children's Hospital in Chicago, a night stay at the house in, is it Wilmette, Winnetka, one of the
Yeah.
2.
Mhm.
And so you could stay there for the night. You and I think they picked 4 people that could stay there, and then they were gonna have the guy who played, the brother, Buzz, is it?
Yeah,
The
he's in the new movie. He's the only
Yeah.
one that
So
returns.
he comes and kind of plays host to you that night. So they already did the poll. I think there's like 4 families or four people that are going to get to stay overnight. It was like a $25, buy-in, and it was a fundraiser for the hospital, and then 4 people got selected. So
Well, that's fun,
so,
I
so
guess.
yeah, so
Kinda
it's
like a
still
Home Alone escape room, but you don't want to
right.
escape. There's
But
no escaping.
you stay the whole
Home
time.
Alone stay room.
I don't know if they beat if you beat up like criminals while you're there, or if it's
Does
just
Joe Pesci show up so you can take
yeah,
the shit out of him?
you
Because
just
then
have
I
some
might do it.
you just have some pizzas delivered and hang out with the buzz guy, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, so he was part of that. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny that like all these years later, you still have. I mean, because God, that came out when? What year was that movie? 89?
1990.
1990. Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say, thinking, how long ago that's been. She's 30 years,
It's a
31
long
years. So
time, yeah.
yeah,
30,
so
31 years.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so I mean, so yeah, and it's still, people are like, "Oh, Home Alone." I guess the people who own the house now actually have fencing up, like they had to put a fencing and a gate around the front of the house because too many people would come
that's
and like
funny.
take pictures. So, but we were watching a documentary recently on the making of Home Alone, and they were talking about how most of that set was actually inside the old high school nearby, where it was like they built a new high school, and the old high school was
Yeah,
empty.
that was
So the
on
entire production thing was
yeah,
inside of the high school. So it's
it's
pretty
on the
cool.
movies that made us, I think. Is that
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was it. So Richard was watching that, and I was kind of keeping an eye on it or whatever. So it was kind of interesting to see how that, and then the point where they got bought out, where the movie almost didn't get made because they pulled the funding on it, and they had like kind of on the back end like
Yep.
sold it to, was it to Fox or something like
Yeah,
that, and
it went to Fox, yeah.
and so the guy was going around room to room telling the people, "We're over, shut it down." And then the other guy was following him, going, "Nope, leave it, we're back on." And I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh,
exactly,
so
yeah.
interesting." And just talking, it was funny because speaking of Christmas movies too, because they were talking to Chris Columbus, and he was talking about how he originally had been given this stuff to make Christmas Vacation,
Yep.
but that Chevy Chase was so awful, and he's like, "I can't do this." So then they ended up coming up with
Chevy Chase
Home
was
Alone.
so terrible and a horrible human being that John Hughes felt bad for Chris Columbus and
And
gave
made him
him
his own
Home Alone.
movie. Yeah, gave him his
That's
own movie.
Yeah, that's how bad Chevy Chase was. It wasn't just like, "Oh, okay, I understand, you could walk away." It was like, "Here, have this movie, and I am so sorry."
Mhm.
Because yeah, he was
Consolation for,
yeah, because as
yeah.
we all know, I think now Chevy Chase is a giant prick and
Mhm.
probably a racist. So
Yeah.
not a lot to like about him, to be honest.
No.
But he made some funny movies back in the
He
day.
did. He did.
So
He did.
he has that. Um, yeah. So anyway, I know we got off on a tangent there, but very Harold and Kumar Christmas. Check it out if you want. It's well worth it. Neil Patrick Harris has a great like musical number in it. He's great in that film series playing uh, a horrible version of himself,
Mhm.
which is
Oh, yeah. That's a
yeah.
good one.
In that whole film series, he just plays a degenerate. Um, I think at one point, it may even be in this one. I think he dies in this one.
That
And
might
then
be
like
possible,
I
if I
think he
remember right,
dies, and
yeah.
I think he's like in heaven afterwards. So
Which, if you follow
it's
those
so
movies, he should not be anywhere near anything
yes, yeah.
positive.
Such a fun idea though.
Yeah.
The other one too, because we're staying in that realm. Seth Rogen did one too called The Night Before,
Ah, yes, I have seen that. And that
and
was
that
on
one I
recently
like that
too.
one too because that was like the R-rated version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
I feel like because you
I
get
was
Michael Shannon as the pot smoking, drug dealing angel
mhm.
who's looking out for Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as they celebrate their what's supposed to be their last Christmas together because Rogen's character's having a baby, and
Right.
Mackie's character is a huge NFL athlete, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt just is kind of sad and lonely. So I don't know why they're that's the whole goal. Um, but really it ends up, they end up kind of finding a reason to, still remain friends and all that kind of stuff. So it's got that kind of heart to it. But
Yeah.
next to that, it's just freaking hilarious. I mean,
Yeah, it
Rogan
was
is like on drugs the entire film because his wife gives him like one last like party platter of drugs uh, before he becomes a father. So yeah, it's a crazy movie. That was one that when I saw that I really like. Carla, what did you think of that one?
I enjoyed it. It was funny. But yeah, I mean, could you imagine in any way Seth Rogen or any Seth Rogen character like ceasing the use of the drugs after the baby was born? Like,
Yeah,
it's like, well, it was a nice gesture, but I think this is also going to happen next Tuesday. So I don't
it's all
know.
a fantasy in his head because him
Right,
and
right,
his
right.
wife apparently aren't going to have any kids anyway, so he's not going to
Oh.
have to stop doing said drugs. But yeah, I think it was just a funny premise, and to make him the character that had to do that, I think was really a good choice. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, he plays that part very well.
yes,
So
he
he
does.
probably was actually under the influence when he
The
did all
part
those
he was
things.
born to play.
Ah, yes, yes. Yeah.
All
So,
right, let's see here.
well, and in that one too, they also did highlight Hanukkah a little bit, which is nice
They
because I
do,
feel like
yes. He's
we
got like the
don't,
Hanukkah sweater on, yeah.
yes, yeah. Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's a good, like I said, it's a good flick. Let me see
Wasn't
here.
there one called Office Christmas Party?
Oh,
Was that the
Office Christmas Party. Okay, there's another one. There you go. That fits right into this topic.
I
That
remember
one
that one.
is
That one was kinda wild. I was like, "What?" I don't even
that
remember. Was
one's
it Jason Bateman?
it was Jason Bateman. Uh,
I couldn't tell you who else was in it. I just
hold
remember
on,
him.
I'm bringing it up right now. Good cast.
Yes, everybody in it was fantastic, but yeah, it was just like I don't remember it. I kind of remember the premise of the movie now, but it's been a few years since I've seen it, but it was pretty
Jennifer
fun.
Aniston is in it
That's right.
as the bitchy sister who owns the company. Uh, T.J. Miller is the
That's
brother who
right.
owns the
Yep.
company. Jillian
Yes.
Bell is one of the employees. Or no, Jillian Bell is the pimp. Who they, she's hilarious. She is also the wife in the night before.
Okay,
Vanessa
right.
Bayer is in it. Courtney B. Vance, Rob Corddry, Kate McKinnon is like the office runner, the one that runs. She's like very much like you can't do this, you can't do that. No one does
Oh,
this,
right, right, right,
but she's
right.
also very crazy in it too.
I
So
kind of need to
that one
watch that
is the
again.
plot is you have this company. Jennifer Aniston's character, I think she wants to sell the company because the brother is terrible at running it. So she wants to
Yes.
sell it and make more money. And TJ Miller and her do not have a good relationship because he's a fuck up. And he then incorporates Jason Bateman and Olivia Munn's characters to like basically help him save Christmas, save the job, save the office. It's pretty hilarious from start to finish. Um, just one of those. Just again, just fits it right in with this type of holiday movie craziness. There's lots of and these three movies we're talking about too. There's lots of sex and stuff. So obviously, if
Yeah.
you have kids,
Yeah.
probably no
They're
go. But
not safe for work, not
yes,
safe for
they're yeah, right,
small
exactly.
children,
They're more
probably.
adult holiday films. But they're funny and they're really good. And I
Mhm.
really like this one a lot too. I know TJ Miller, he's had his issues of late, but I did hear he did have a brain tumor, which they say
Really?
was causing a lot of
Some of
his
the aggression and stuff that he
like the
was
stuff that
having?
happened on Silicon Valley. I guess they figured that's where he started to
Oh,
it started to take over. And that's where
okay.
he started becoming a real big asshole. Now that doesn't I'm
Yeah.
not talking about his the accusations against him from when in college, but I'm talking anything
Yeah.
from
Oh, I never heard
Silicon
about
Valley
those.
and prior with the bomb stuff and all that, like that kind of
Yeah.
made him crazy. So I
Okay.
didn't know that Jason was telling me that. So I thought that was an
Oh, yeah.
interesting
That would make sense. I know that, yeah, if you have tumors in certain places in your brain, it can affect
right,
your
exactly.
behavior
It
and
changes you. It could change your
yeah.
personality. And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what it did. So
Gotcha.
he's trying after all that happened, he's trying to kind of find his way back into Hollywood. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I thought he was always very funny. So we're taking everything else out of it. He was a very funny comedian slash actor.
Yeah.
He plays that part really well. It's kind of like the part that was written for Seth Rogen, but played by T.J. Miller, essentially.
Right. They kind of, yeah, they run in the same like if stables, if you will. Like they, yeah, that kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
similar qualities. So
All right. Would you want to talk about Love Hard, Carly?
okay, so yeah, we watched that yesterday. It was much better than I expected it to be because I thought it was going to be terrible. Some of these like sort of holiday rom coms, you're just like, oh Lord, here we go. But I love Jimmy O Yang, so like I was
He's
like,
good.
okay, yeah, give it a chance, and then you have Nina Dobrev, and she, I really have not seen her in anything except for Vampire Diaries. I was a big fan of Vampire Diaries. Watched most of the seasons well, until they just kept killing people, and then you'd be like, oh my god, and then like the next day they'd be like, I'm back, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, for the love of God, I'm done with this. So
but I'm
I
kind
think
of angry now.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, like either you're dead or you're not dead. Stop this nonsense. Okay, so, but anyway, yeah. So I kind of gave up on the last season of that, but I really haven't seen her in much else, and so it was interesting to see her in a different format. She's probably in her 30s now, or around
Yeah,
her 30s now. So, it was, it was entertaining. The premise being that I think you said you already reviewed this movie,
yeah.
so
We
people might
well, we saw
already,
it. I didn't review
yeah.
it, but we
Oh, you
saw it.
didn't review it? Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those movies where she's a writer in LA and she's trying to find a boyfriend, and she has all these disastrous dates, and that's the premise of her sort of her article that she writes for this media company that she works for, the social media company, and they keep egging her on to sort of like pick up these bad dates so that she can continue the series, etc. And then she actually, her friend expands her search profile on her dating app, and it picks up people from around the country. And she ends up finding some guy named Josh who's in Lake Placid, New York. They have like a couple months of very nice conversation and get to know each other, and it seems very, very cozy and everything. So she decides that after he says something, wouldn't it be wild if we could spend Christmas together? And she's like, I'm gonna go. And so it's part of the story that she's trying to tell, but then it's also like she's just like, well, why not? Let's go see what happens. And then it turns out she's been catfished, and Jimmy O Yang is in fact the guy that she's been talking to, whose name is Josh, and he's been using pictures from a former classmate of his, to sort
Mm-hmm.
of bamboozle people into
Of
thinking he's interesting.
Tag, played by Darren Barnett from
I was gonna say, what's he from?
Have I Ever, I believe, or what, the Mindy Kaling show.
Oh, okay,
Because
got it.
he's actually like 30 in real life.
I was gonna say I did not put that together, because like that kid's supposed to be a teenager and
Yes.
these people are 30, and that's really weird now.
Right,
But yes,
exactly.
so it's just a series of mishaps and stuff, and he then the Josh guy then attempts to help her hook up with this Tag.
Yeah.
Who's named Tag anyway? This
Who
bothers
knows?
me. But anyway, yeah. So she's trying. I'd be like, no, I'm good. If your name's Tag, we're just gonna call it a day.
Yeah.
Like Josh is bad enough. Like Tag's even worse. But yeah. So she goes through all these sort of hijinks, and then she's mad at Josh for lying to her, but then she sort of fakes that she can do certain things so that the guy likes her, and it turns
Well, and it's not only that he lied to her, he catfished her, but she also lied to them, and that she's only interested in him for her article. It wasn't really for a relationship.
Well, but the funny thing is, though, is from the beginning, I got the impression that she was interested in him from a relationship, but the boss was pressuring her to like turn it into an article or whatever, that she needed something, or he was going to fire her, and blah blah blah. But we did kind of find it funny, though, that later in the story that the boss comes in to be like the voice of reason, and we're like,
I know, that was like a character
uh,
that you don't really get to know throughout the entire movie. He just
no,
pops up at the end and was like, you know what? You need to follow your heart.
yeah, and we're
Wait,
like, he's
what, bro?
kind of a
Like,
dick.
where are
Like,
you
why
from?
is he involved in this? Like, yeah, what's his
And then,
interest here?
and then he's like, I'm gonna go try to find some girl to bang. And I'm like, wait, what?
No,
Like,
but he likes dudes.
oh, he likes dudes. Okay,
He
dudes.
likes dudes, yeah. So, because he was like, I know we're girlfriends now and all, but whatever. Go get the story, or I'm gonna fire you, or
Yeah,
something like
right,
that.
exactly. Yeah, it was really weird.
So yeah, that part was a little strange. I mean, it was pretty predictable. It probably was like a Hallmark movie on steroids. You know what I mean? In
Yeah,
terms of
well,
like
and
just
that's so. What Netflix does is they allow their people. They basically go like, we want these type of movies,
yeah,
but it's Netflix, so you can make them a little raunchier, a little
sure.
more rated R. Like there's another one called The Holiday that came out last year with Emma Roberts and Luke Bracey, I think.
Okay. I think
And
I remember seeing the
that one's a very
part.
like hard R rated, like not a lot of
Gotcha.
sex or nudity, but a lot of swearing and stuff. And
Yeah.
so they and the dude like gets his finger cut off or something, or his toe or something. So like they take that one's really funny. I like that one. It got
I'll try to
terrible
find that one.
reviews, but it was cheesy and romantic, but it was like they were both very against holidays and relationships. That's why they end up getting
Oh,
into
okay.
holiday. Um, but yeah, with Netflix, they've been able to they do the Christmas Prince type shit, which is your total lifetime movie,
Sure,
which we
sure.
reviewed that last year. Oh God, that was terrible. Uh, that was our bad movie that we reviewed around the holidays last year. But yeah,
I feel like you really weren't the target market for that
no, I
one.
don't think so.
I
I mean, they've
mean,
made like 7 of those, and now there's a whole Christmas universe too. I don't know if you
oh
knew that.
Jesus, no.
They're all of them. And what's crazy is it's a Christmas universe in which, who's the girl from High School Musical it was in Bad Boys 3? What's her
Vanessa
name?
Hudgens?
Vanessa
No.
Hudgens
Is
plays
that
like
her?
5 different characters because 2 of her movies are in the same universe, and in one of the movies, no, 4 different characters. In one of the movies, she plays triplets.
Oh God.
So she exists 4 times in that same Christmas universe at least. There may even be another movie she's in. I don't know.
That sounds just like no, like that just sounds bad from the
And
beginning.
she's found a brand, and she's good. Like she's a good
Hey,
actor. I don't.
she's getting paid. I mean,
I
I'm not mad
guess
at her,
right. I
but
guess it's money.
you girl,
Good
you do what you
money.
got to do. You want to play triplets? They better pay you 3 times as much. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, I guess because Netflix did Tick Tick Boom, she got to be in that probably because of her relationship with Netflix.
Okay.
So maybe that there's some benefits, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for holiday fare,
yeah.
Netflix has quite a few films on there. Hulu just added Jingle All the Way, which I remember being god awful. But if you like it,
Isn't that the one with
Arnold,
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
yeah,
Oh, I don't know. As a kid, I thought it was pretty dope. I don't know, but
it was. Yeah, well, I think a lot of those movies, like and then like I saw it probably like 10 years later, and I was like, oh, like that was like a giant commercial for toys that they really
yeah,
failed to
yeah.
sell. Because I guess I was listening to a podcast where they talked about that movie recently, and I guess they had made all these toys, but they were way behind on production. So by the time the
Hmm.
movie came out, they didn't have
You
enough
couldn't get
toys,
those anyway.
and it was like, oh my god, this movie's trash. So they never ended up releasing it, all the toys and stuff, and it just kind of faded
Oh,
away. But people do watch it around the holidays. It is like sits there, I think, with people from our generation with Home Alone and Nightmare Before
right.
Christmas and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Still a title that doesn't make any sense. Um, he's no longer Home Alone.
No, this is true. He's out and about.
He's out and about on his own. It's a longer title, though, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Gotta keep it
yeah,
in the
so I mean,
franchise.
Jingle All the Way is, I know it, like I said, it's sitting there on Hulu. Happiest Season, which I talked about earlier. If you could watch Family Stone, that's one of my favorite. Have you seen that one, Carly?
I don't think I have. I've heard about it. I mean, I've heard of it many years.
Huge cast. It's I'll bring it up real quick because it's one of those, again, it's like it's more of a drama really
Okay.
than it is like a rom-com, because there's love connections and stuff happening, but it's not your typical.
No, you know
Let's
me. Me and
see.
dramas. We don't usually get along, but
Yeah, that's true. Unless it's about Nazis. Um,
that just makes me sound bad.
it's a more
I like it when the
educational
Nazis
people.
die, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't
Killing
say you're
Nazis.
like waiting for the adaptation of Mein
You're just
Kampf.
like Nazis. I'm like, yeah. No, that would be a theater production.
Yeah, exactly. It stars, so back away from Nazis, stars Claire Danes, Diane Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Dermot Mulroney, Craig T. Nelson, Sarah Jessica Parker, Luke Wilson, and Brian White.
Okay, so none of whom are known to be Nazis. So
No, as far as I know, they're not Nazis. So it revolves around Dermot Mulroney bringing home Sarah Jessica Parker for Christmas to meet his family. She's a bit much, and she tries really hard
accurate.
though. What?
Said accurate.
Yes, yeah. She tries really hard and keeps falling on her face, essentially. Sometimes literally. Rachel McAdams is the younger sister. She does not want to like her, so they don't get along right from the beginning. There is a deaf gay brother who is there as well with his husband, Brian White. and she says some insensitive things about them occasionally. Um,
So she's the Nazi, is what you're
kind of.
saying.
There's definitely
Okay.
some casual racism, which she doesn't mean. She doesn't
Oh.
intend to happen, but it happens. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what did you just say?" And there was like, because there was a game they were playing, charades, I think, or the one with the card. Is that charades?
Oh,
Or
God. Pictionary? No.
maybe, or
Okay. Could be
what? One of those
charades. I don't know.
games where
Maybe
you
they had
guess. And
fancy charades.
the sister Rachel McAdams was like, "Oh my god, did you point at him?" Because like her clue was like black,
Oh.
and you never really see her do it. So there's
Ah,
never
okay.
any indication that she actually did it, or if Rachel McAdams' character was just trying to cause shit.
Make it up. Yeah, yeah,
But then you get Luke Wilson, who plays like the stoner brother, who's just like really interested in Sarah Jessica Parker. So there's
yeah.
that kind of brother versus brother thing. And then Dermot Mulroney meets the sister, played by Claire Danes, and then he actually ends up falling more for her because she's nicer. But Luke Wilson gets Sarah Jessica Parker's character to kind of unravel a little bit and be not as uptight.
I see. Is this one on Vudu too? Can I find it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I put it up there as soon as it was like on sale one year. I was like, oh, going on. Yeah, it's definitely, it's fun. It's, it's got a lot of comedy to it. It is a little sad at times as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely, if you like dysfunctional family comedy dramas, it's definitely up there as one, especially for around the holidays. And maybe it makes you feel like you're with your own family. I don't know.
I was gonna say, I really don't know. I'm trying to think of like Christmas movies where there's not a dysfunctional family. I don't know, maybe some of those really old fashioned ones, but like,
yeah, there's, It's a Wonderful Life
now.
isn't too like, it's about suicide.
I mean, that qualifies as like,
I guess it does, really.
Do you want to kill yourself? You might not be quite on the right track.
Well, he's only the dysfunctional one in the movie, though, where everybody else is like happy and
perfect. Well, because it's the 50s and they all think that those things don't happen, right? So
yeah.
Again, why I'm never too keen on the 50s, but at least it's the one thing, yeah. Like you did see, like in Christmas Story and things like that, that they were super dysfunctional and that everybody was a hot mess. And
that's true. Yeah, there really isn't, unless you go to like a super kids movie, do you get like somebody like the Grinch, like their families aren't dysfunctional really. He obviously is, but he's the Grinch, so
right. No, yeah, but with all the ones we've kind of talked about, maybe there are more. Maybe there's more on Hallmark that I don't know about, but for the most part, like I don't know.
They release like 45 a year, so I'm sure there are plenty that are not dysfunctional.
They're pretty reflective of like I would guess, typical. I guess we're all dysfunctional, right?
There is one out.
We're all dysfunctional, but I could be wrong. There could be normal people out there going, "Why are all these people in these movies so weird?" We're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
right, exactly." Well, and I think it was like that. When you look at the times of like when Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation came out, that's when we kind of started examining like the dysfunctional family.
Yeah,
and we started going away from the 1950s model, because that's when Married with Children came out. The Simpsons was around then. Roseanne was the late 1980s. So you started to kind of explore all those dysfunctional families and how everybody really is, instead of trying to pretend that we're all
oh God, now I'm
trying to think of a good example.
I know, like
Andy Griffith Show, basically.
Andy Griffith Show, yeah, or oh God, I'm blanking, of course, on all these old shows. The Donna Reed Show, you had the Donna Reed Show. You had, Father Knows Best, all those kind of things.
All the ones where every perfect normal family, and in the 80s kind of changed that. So I guess you could say, it may argue the Christmas Story was probably one of the first. But it was, the
80s kind of exposed us for the messed up humans we.
It did. It really truly did. It also brought us Die Hard. So
Yes, of course.
Well, I think one more Christmas movie we should talk about before we get into stuff that we've watched recently. Love Actually, Carly. I think that's one of your favorites and one of my favorites.
Yes.
I
think everyone in my household hates it, but I think everyone in my household hates it, but I love it. So.
I love it too. Rebecca likes it still, I think so. Directed by Richard Curtis, starring everybody in England.
Pretty
Hugh
much
Grant, Liam Neeson, Colin Firth, Laura Linney, Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, Keira Knightley, Martin McCutcheon, Bill Nye, Rowan Atkinson. Hold on, there's even more. That's not all of them. Chewie Attell,
Martina Martina
Huh?
McCutcheon? It's a Martina McCutcheon, right?
Oh, Martine McCutcheon. Sorry, I made
Martina.
it
Oh, yeah.
sound like a guy.
I saw
Uh,
her in another show, and she got murdered with a wheel of cheese. Just
nice.
sidebar.
Tight.
She popped up
She
in
hasn't
Midsummer
been in
Murders. I was
much,
like, "Oh,
so the
yeah."
fact that she showed up to get murdered with a wheel of cheese is
I
impressive.
know, I was impressed. I was impressed.
Trivia for Andrew Lincoln, Rodrigo Santoro, Martin Freeman. That's who I was looking for because I knew
Yeah,
Billy Bob Thornton as the president of the United
that's right.
States, Claudia Schiffer as Carol. A nice little thing there between her and
The little cameo that she
yeah, a
has,
little
yeah.
cameo because Liam Neeson said he would only ever replace his wife with Claudia Schiffer.
Right, right. It's so funny because so many of those people in that movie, like, went on to go do many things, and at the time, they were, like some of them were kinda like Andrew Lincoln, kind of a nobody at the time,
Yeah, he was
like
a
yeah.
nobody. Julia Tell was just getting started.
Yep.
Keira Knightley was just a model, basically, and she was only
Yeah.
like 17 or 18 when she made that movie. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, she was real young when she made that. So
Yeah.
she um, kind of didn't like fit with everybody else, like because and
Yeah,
she was supposed to
yeah.
be a married woman too. So it was all kind of that was all kind of strange when you look at it now.
Yeah, yeah. No, but
She's
it's
kind of like Jennifer Lawrence, where as soon as Jennifer Lawrence got famous, they're like, "Hey, you could play a 35-year-old, right?" And she's like,
sure,
"Oh, sure, I'm
sure. We have
23, whatever."
35-year-olds play 12-year-olds, so
Yeah,
it's
right,
fine.
exactly.
Why not?
I
Yeah.
also should mention January Jones, Alicia Cuthbert, Shannon Elizabeth, Denise Richards, and Ivana Milicevic. They're the women that the one character meets when he goes to
In
America
Wisconsin.
in the middle of Wisconsin, which I can
Yeah.
tell you, you're not going to find all those women in the middle of Wisconsin.
No. No, he that was a gold mine that he landed on there.
Yes.
Because yeah, I've been to Wisconsin. I have not
If
seen
you're
those girls
foreign,
anywhere.
don't go to Wisconsin and expect to see that. Expect to see people wearing lots of Green Bay Packers shit and
Indeed.
talking with Wisconsin accents
Yeah,
and
eating a lot of
eating lots of
cheese and drinking a
cheese.
lot of beer. Yeah, so
Lots of beer and cheese. Maybe
yeah.
getting stabbed by a wheel of
I
cheese.
definitely would agree though that I think he would be super popular there just
Of course,
because
I think so. He'd be different.
his accent definitely buys him a few points for sure
Yes.
in that scenario. So
So the plot, I mean, if you haven't seen Love Actually, it starts off with Hugh Grant kind of saying like, love's all around us and
it's basically a movie of vignettes. It's like just like little glimpses, but somehow they're all interconnected and yeah,
yes,
like
yes.
everybody
And
knows
Richard
each other
Curtis
somehow.
he's done other movies like this. He did
Mhm.
another one that uh, a rom dram, if you will, about time, which is about time travel. So if you haven't
Oh,
seen that one,
okay.
with
Uh-uh.
Rachel McAdams and Domhnall Gleeson and Bill
Okay.
Nye, that one's on. I have that on Vudu as well. That was really good.
Mhm.
But this one, it basically, like you said, it's little vignettes or short stories that weave into one big larger story where all the characters seem to kind of know each other, just in a different way. Like you don't find out till towards the end that Emma Thompson is Hugh Grant's sister,
Right.
which he's the Prime Minister of England. So you would think maybe you would know that earlier, but there's lots of little things that are in there. Um, excuse me, that you just don't know. And the whole
Yeah.
Alan Rickman with the girl. The Liam Neeson story is pretty sad. As his wife
Yeah.
passes away, they do the funeral thing, and then he has to raise his
Stepson.
stepson on his own.
Mhm.
This is a pretty good job, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to say it's wholesome because it's not. It's rated R, but it's
I mean, there's definitely people get cheated on, there's dealing with grief and death and all that, kind of stuff too. But there's a lot of positivity and a lot of hope in it. And,
yes,
and it's good a few unrequited love interests
a
there.
little bit.
But
Yeah, the Laura Linney storyline. Yeah,
the Laura Linney and also the Andrew Lincoln one, because I
yep.
mean it's sort of like, but I think it's healthy to look at it that way because there are just some people that you're just never gonna be able to fit with in that way. And that's just you just have to deal
I
with it.
was listening. I was again one of the podcasts I listened to. It's called "How Did This Get Made" with Jason Mantzoukas, Paul Scheer, and June Diane Raphael.
Uh-huh.
And they were talking about unrequited love and like had because they watched Snowman's, which is one of those lifetime
Oh,
lifetime
okay.
movies. It's where
Okay.
a snowman comes to life
Oh,
because it's like her
Jesus.
perfect boyfriend or whatever.
Oh, no, no, no.
Yeah, they watched that one. But they were talking about unrequited love and like how it happens, and people don't realize that
Yeah.
that's an actual thing. Like you could feel bad for him, or in some cases, people call him a creep. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
because he's it's his like best friend that he's kind of creeping on his girl or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's you kind of have to give, I think, a little leeway to some of these movies, um, because the intention wasn't creepy. It may look creepy from
Right.
the outside. You have to kind of
Right.
look at it from his point of view and
Yeah.
what he was going through. And then, the perfect line of when he walks away is like, "That's it. It's done. It's over." And he just
Right.
walks away. I
Moving
mean, she
on.
kisses him, but it's over, and he walks away.
Right.
Um,
Well, funny enough, he doesn't like turn around and become some psycho like school or work shooter or something like
yeah,
that, which is probably how the American version would end. So
yeah, right, exactly. Falling down is how the American version would
yes,
end.
yes, exactly. So
So if you haven't seen Love Actually, definitely check it out. It's
yeah,
one of our
it
favorites.
is
Um,
amazing. I love it
yeah,
so
it's
much.
I'll watch it again soon coming up.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
so I'm
gonna be
gonna
on this
get
week.
into we're gonna skip the reviews of the week because Wayne is out. So I watched the 2 movies that we were gonna review this week. I'm just gonna go right into those, Carly, and you can just kind of listen
Okay.
to what I have to say about these amazing movies. Uh, it was not, if you can tell by my voice, it was not a great week. I actually liked the shitty Chuck Norris movie a lot better than I liked the big movie I watched.
Is he like 80? Why is he still doing
No,
movies?
it was from 1982.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
an
I
old
was
one.
like, what is it in an old folks home or
Would be amazing. All
I
right.
actually now I want to see that
Yeah, now you
movie.
know what? I'm writing the script right now.
Please do.
We are making that movie.
That'd be a first movie from our production company is Chuck Norris in
Yes.
retirement home.
All right. So I watched Mother Android on Hulu. It's a brand new original film sold by Miramax to Hulu, starring Chloe Grace Moretz, Algie Smith, and Raul Castillo. That's basically your main cast.
Mm-hmm.
It starts good. It's a movie where the people have robot butlers. They're going to
Nice.
like
I want
a party.
one of
It's
those.
kind of like iRobot almost in the beginning, but they're already
Okay.
domesticated. Chloe Grace Moretz finds out that she's pregnant. She's kind of upset because she's only like 20 or whatever, and she's not really like that into her boyfriend at the moment. But they're going to a holiday party. He knows already and stuff. They're going to a holiday party, and they get there. I think it's a holiday party. They get there, and she's talking to her friend, and she tells her what's happened, and then all of a sudden the friend's phone goes all screwy, and they hear someone screaming, and they go out there, and the android is murdering people.
Oh, fun.
And thus begins the robot apocalypse, essentially.
Oh.
So, fast
Merry
forward.
holiday party, robot apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. Fast forward 9 months, and she's like way pregnant. They're living in the woods, trying to survive. And it really just becomes a movie about survival, I guess, in the middle of a robot apocalypse. As I made the comment to Rebecca while we were watching it, I was like, for a movie about the robot apocalypse, it really doesn't have much of the robot apocalypse in it.
It's sort of like the aftermath, sort of like all of the Walking Dead ones, where it's like sort of just you see like maybe 3 zombies a episode, and it's primarily them fighting each other.
Exactly. That was, I think, what they were going for. That's what's very popular right now, and I get that, but it was really boring, and I didn't like it. She was fine in it. I like her. The Algie Smith, he's from Detroit and the movie Detroit. A couple other movies too. He played in the New Edition BET movie. And he had a couple other Judas and the Black Messiah. He had a small part in. So he was good. Raul Castillo has become kind of like a fixture on Netflix. He was in Army of the Dead from Zack Snyder.
Okay.
He was fine. It just, I don't know. It didn't work. It was just boring. It was slow. And then like it picks up every once in a while, but then it had a really dumb ending too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, whatever. Stupid. So don't watch it. I'd say 3 out of 10. We've been rating them, like giving them numbers lately. So that's what I would give that one. The other one I watched was from 1982, and it's called Silent Rage. It stars Chuck
Sounds
Norris.
like a white man's oh, there you go. White man's problem.
Exactly. Chuck Norris as a Texas sheriff in a small town.
Oh, of course it is.
Just like his show, Walker, Texas Ranger. This was basically this was like right after though that he was like the villain in a Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee movie, so he was
Okay.
not a star yet. Really, he was still just this guy that knew karate. So it's a movie that has these scientists create like a superhuman, basically, and he ends up staying at this. He's staying at this like house locally with like family and friends or whatever. The superhuman guy, and
Mhm.
they're kind of monitoring him and stuff. Well, their monitoring fails, and he murders everybody in that house.
Oh,
And so
wow.
Chuck Norris and his sheriff buddies show up to like try to fight him, and he gets away. And or no, they catch him and they think that they kill him, but Ron Silver's he plays the one of the doctors. His doctor buddy uh, keeps him alive. So unbeknownst to him, he's still alive. And it does star. Do you remember Animal House, Carly?
Yes.
Flounder from Animal
Oh,
House.
yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
plays
Okay.
one of his sheriff deputies, which I thought I'd like never had seen him in another movie, and I think he just passed away recently. I'd never seen him in anything else, and I was like, wow, Flounder, and he was basically Flounder, but if he became a cop. Um, yeah, I mean, so it's there's not a lot of there's not a lot to draw from it. So because it's basically it's kind of like Terminator essentially before Terminator was a thing.
Mhm.
Um, but they don't want them to meet too much. So they create this other division where there's this biker gang that comes to town, and Chuck Norris tells them to leave, and they say no. So then, of course, he goes and he beats the shit out of like 30 guys. That takes up a good like 20 minutes of the movie just so
Fair.
you have that element of like, oh hey, like he could really beat the crap out of people. Um,
Let's give him ridiculously arbitrary things to fight about. Okay, here we
yes,
go.
it was
So,
the fight. Of course, it's the 80s, so you get all that fighting sound effects too, of where
uh-huh.
it's not actually doesn't sound like someone actually hitting somebody. It's more oof, oosh, oosh, psh. Um, yeah, a lot of that back and forth. Chuck Norris is a terrible actor. There is a scene in the beginning of the movie where like Ron Silver, God rest his soul, was trying to uh, act. And Chuck Norris was like, okay, uh-huh. Okay. He's like trying. He's like, give me something. Like, do something. It's just like poor Ron Silver. Just couldn't. He couldn't. It was an early movie for him too. It was probably like he was in maybe
Yeah.
5 other movies before that. So he must
Oh
have got
my
a late
god.
start because he already looked like he was like 40. I think he was only in his 30s though. But yeah, it's one of those movies that it's so silly, but it's so funny too at times. Uh, Bloody, gory, people die in very hilarious ways.
That's
Um,
my favorite.
yes, and then
That's why I
Chuck
like
Norris
watching
just
people get beat with wheels of cheese to death, like Martine McCutcheon in the one I watched.
yeah, true.
Anyway, sorry.
No, and then so Chuck Norris, then of course wins at the end by kicking him down like a well, which they make
Oh,
seem like 100 feet down, like it's
I,
so far down. And
it
then
could
when they
be.
pan the camera down, it takes like 3 seconds to see it. I was
He's
like,
like, hey,
and they walked
oh,
they
I'm
walked
dead.
away. I was
Yeah.
like, he could easily just because they show you he's still alive. I'm like, he
Uh,
could easily just get back up and climb out of the hole. But they're like, Chuck Norris is like,
nope,
yeah, it's it, it's done, it's over. I'm like, okay.
finished. My work here is finished. And I'm like,
So
no,
overall,
he
I'd
didn't.
say like a 6.5 out of 10, just out
Okay.
of the enjoyment
So
factor.
he did not know that he should double tap at the end,
He
is what
did
you're
not he
saying.
did not
He did
know.
not understand the concept.
No, well, you can't double tap with your leg.
I
I
get
guess you
well,
can, but he did have guns at
yeah.
some point. Um,
I mean, he's a sheriff, right? I mean, I cannot imagine. Okay, it's really hard to tell me the premise that there are Texas sheriffs who are using karate and not guns because
he
that just sounds like a fantasy right
he
there.
has
Like,
guns, but I think they make, if I remember correctly, they make it pretty like either it's his last resort or like he runs out of bullets. That type is one of those type of
okay,
things. I
okay,
think in the beginning of the movie he uses it as his last resort, and at the
I
end of the
see.
movie, it's he runs out of bullets, so then he just has to keep fighting him until one of them
To
wins.
to be fair, a real Texan would be like, nah, you never run out of bullets if you're a real Texan.
You don't run
I'm
out of
just saying.
bullets in
I'm
Texas.
just saying they don't run out of bullets in Texas. That's what I've been told. I've only ever been there once, but that's what they tell me. Rumor has it. Like everyone's just
Rumor
stocked.
has it.
They're in all their pockets and like
Yes. They just have it.
handbags.
You want a
You
bullet?
think it's a Louis Vuitton, but it's full of bullets. They're bougie, but they got bullets. Don't worry.
You want a bullet? I
So,
got one.
I got what kind? Yeah. No.
All right. So then, another movie. Is this the movie? No, that's with Udo Kier. Actually, that looks interesting too. I watched a movie called Swan Song on Apple Plus, starring Mahershala Ali.
Mm-hmm.
He's been nominated for a Golden Globe for it. He is very good in it. It's a kind of a sci-fi cancer drama. So I know those are words that people would not
Okay.
expect, but it's a guy who has cancer, and
Mhm.
you find out that his wife's brother just passed away, and it was her twin. So she had just went through a whole thing,
Mhm.
and he's dying, and he doesn't want to tell her. And it takes place in the future because they have clones now. That
Okay.
it's just like getting off the ground. And so he could be like the third person to try it. So he has it's the whole movie is like it's a very interesting film because it's the idea of like how do you want to be remembered, I guess? And
Gotcha.
would you rather, let everybody know you're dying and die, or would you, if you had a chance to have your family live on without you but still have you in a sense,
Right.
you're not
Right.
going to know about it, would you take that chance?
Hmm.
Um
Hence Swan Song. I get it. Yes. Okay.
Exactly, because I'm like watching it because Rebecca was like falling asleep or whatever, and she's like, "What's it about?" I'm like, "For some reason, it takes place in the future." I'm like, I have no idea because at that point, I didn't know the plot. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know why he's got a non-driving car and a robot that gives him chocolate bars. I want a robot that gives me chocolate bars.
Okay. Now you keep talking about all these robot ones. I don't have any robot that brings me chocolate and or
Right?
beer, and
Exactly.
I demand for Christmas one of these
I
robots.
demand chocolate robots.
So I demand.
But once you kind of get into the story, it works. It all pretty much works. It's not perfect. I would say probably 7.5 or 8 out of 10. But he's really good. Mahershala Ali, I think, is kind of set himself as like one of the top actors working today. So he really gives a really great performance in two roles. Where he plays himself and then Jack, which is basically himself, but that's what they call him before he
The
leaves the
clone or
compound.
whatever. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's definitely if you have Apple Plus TV, there haven't been a lot of movies that they've done original movies for.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I'd say I'm trying to think what I watched The only one I watched is Greyhound, I think so far. I know they
Did they do the Finch one too? Is that what
they
the
did the
Tom
other
Hanks or
Tom
is that
Hanks one, Finch, and then they also have the Tom Holland one, Cherry, where he plays the drug addict from the
right?
Russo
Okay.
brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the banker with Samuel L. Jackson and Anthony Mackie. So they're starting to kind of roll them out. They're
I was gonna say they
buying
mainly
some.
seem to they seem to mainly be doing shows in the beginning there. So
Yes, and like Greyhound is one they purchased. So
okay.
Swan Song, I don't know if that was made originally with Apple in mind,
Mm-hmm.
but Greyhound was during the pandemic, and they bought it and they put it on their service. So
Gotcha.
um, that was like their first major. The Banker was their first one, but that was like their first major one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a solid film, and I think people should watch it. It definitely, if you're into watching the movies that get nominated and stuff, it's very likely he gets an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. So well worth people's time. It is like I said, you just kind of get used to the fact that it takes place in the future. They don't go too heavy on that though. It's not like
Okay.
not that many things have changed. It's more convenience. Like
I see.
it's a robot on the train that he can buy a chocolate bar from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the self driving cars, which were already kind of headed in that direction, right? So
Right. That's maybe maybe we're looking at 10, 15 years down the
they
line
just look
then.
more futuristic, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how they did it. The
Gotcha.
selfie's got like his cell phone is basically in him, so like he can,
Ah.
and everything is a camera. So like he wears contacts every day, and that's a camera.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so he
Be
can turn
so
that
much
off and
easier.
stuff. Glenn Close is in it with him, Naomi Harris, Adam Beach. So good small cast. Yeah, solid movie. I would say definitely check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So, Carly, anything that you've watched recently next to outside of Love Hard that you like?
Yeah, I mean that was what we watched yesterday. I will say I'll throw out a couple things for some shows on Netflix that I've watched recently. That are probably ones you probably wouldn't normally have come across because they are foreign. I mean, not that you don't watch foreign stuff. I know you do, but I'm trying to learn Italian, so I've been watching a really cute one. If you liked like New Girl, you'd probably appreciate it. It's called An Astrological Guide for Broken Hearts. And basically this woman works for like a TV show. She kind of reminds me of like a Zoe Deschanel. She's kind of quirky and she's cute. She's a little tiny thing, whatever. And her first, most recent relationship kind of goes south with the person that she worked with, and he's now marrying somebody else that they work with, and it's very awkward and uncomfortable for her. And
Yeah.
she's trying to move up. She's been a production assistant for a long time at her job. It all takes place in Turin in Italy. So the scenery is really pretty. The town's really cute, and it's just kind of like a meet cute show. It's just she ends up finding some guy that she meets like that's in sort of in their TV complex area, who's an actor but also is really big into astrology, and so he's trying to like tell her like who she should date based on like personality, and then she goes through a couple different dates and some different activities. You can tell there's like something with the boss, like he's kind of cute and they, whatever. But I haven't progressed so far. I think I'm like episode 3 or 4. So she ends up developing a TV show based on this sort of astrological stuff. And like, so it becomes like a dating show based on astrology that they put on. So it was really cute. So yeah, that one was really nice. Yeah. So the other one I was watching was called Zero. It's another Italian one. And it's a young guy. He lives in a bad neighborhood in Milan, sort of like, low income area. People are pretty poor. Lots of bad stuff happens in the neighborhood. And he delivers pizzas, but he also draws anime like of black characters, which he's a black kid himself. So and then it kind of goes into, he has like a bracelet that his mom gave him, and somehow it has some power to make him invisible. And so they're sort of starting to explore the idea that this kid could be invisible and maybe do stuff to help improve the neighborhood, as it were. So like it's like a superhero, like sort of thing. It's really kind of cool. I like what I've seen so far. So those are the two. So Zero and the Astrological. I don't have all the names of all the characters.
Yeah, Zero was on my list. That was one that I've kind of noticed.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Didn't forget to mention we finally finished Squid Game.
Okay. So what?
We really liked it. It was good. At least I really liked it.
Like I feel like I needed counseling after I finished the final episode, because
it reminded me a lot of like Parasite.
Yeah, I'm like I have PTSD. It's gonna take me a few days to come off of this weirdness. From
yeah,
this.
It's pretty insane. It was fun because Donovan had watched a YouTube video explaining every episode, so he sat and watched some of it with us because he's like, "I want to see it happen." Like, okay. Yeah. So that was cute, but it was so also cute.
We watched
Squid Game together. Huh?
It's so cute. We watched Squid Game together.
Exactly. I was just gonna say it was so cute that my son wanted to see all those people die horrible deaths.
Yeah, that's okay. My daughter was the one that made us watch it. So there you go. Our children think alike. Shocker.
Exactly. Yeah, he'd been actually asking us like, "You guys watch Squid Game yet? You watch Squid Game yet?" So it was nice to finish it. It's a good show. I'm looking forward to season 2. It's pretty crazy. So if you haven't seen it, definitely.
It's very intense, but I think it's I don't know, it's a valuable watch, unless you're a person that really can't do like bloody death. But then just do this.
Yeah,
just
and it's not over the top though either. Like it's gory, but it's not like Kill Bill where the blood is just endlessly spurting out of people's veins.
Right.
But if someone gets their throat slit, it's going to look like someone got their throat slit. Like they keep it somewhat realistic, I think.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, and the storytelling was really interesting. I think it's as they were kind of saying, it's very much a story of this time period with the haves and the have-nots, and like what people are willing to do just to get that extra bit of money and things like that. And so
I think it's a little better too if you haven't watched a lot of content that is similar to it, because there were a lot of things where I was like, oh, this is like Escape Room. Oh, this is like this movie. Oh, this is like this movie. Because it does take a lot from obviously it takes from Hunger Games, from Battle Royale.
Yeah.
There were more than I was thinking of when I was watching it, but I'm drawing a blank at the moment. But so even Saw, like there are definitely some Saw moments. The very final twist on the show is a very Saw moment, especially from the first Saw. So if you understand that, then you probably understand the twist.
I didn't see any of the Saws, so I have no idea. But I know what I can kind of guess what you're talking about.
Yeah. So So yesterday, Donovan and I went and saw Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, we're hoping to go today. We'll see if it happens.
It is amazing. It's everything I wanted it to be and more. Donovan, at the end, when the credits were rolling, he turned to me. He goes, that was amazing. I was like, so as a parent, it's always fun to see your kid like enjoy something as much as you do. He hasn't stopped talking about it.
That's
Every
good.
once in a while, he'll just be like, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty close as epic as Avengers Endgame. Like it left me with a lot of the same type of emotions that I had out of that movie.
Okay.
And I told him I wish that he would have had the experience of experiencing Iron Man in 2008 and then to where we've gotten today. Because like to him, he's like, Iron Man's a good movie, and to me, it still sits at the top because it's the one that started it. Iron Man is why we have what we have. But this, I'm not going to spoil anything because I want everybody to see this movie and enjoy it in their own and how they're going to feel when they see all the things that happen, because there's a lot of things that happen. But well worth it, and we want to go see it again. We probably won't. We'll probably wait till it comes out in home video, but it was so good.
Good. So good. I'm hoping that's on our list. We'll get it done sometime this week, hopefully. Don't know what.
Yeah, with Christmas break coming up, I figure you guys will get to see it at some point.
Yeah.
All right, let me do what we usually do here is where we do I go into the wrap up stuff. So
okay,
we're gonna go and do that. I'm gonna get into news and the notes, and then we'll get into the wrap up. All right, so news and notes this week. Caitlin Cronenberg, daughter of David Cronenberg, is going to make her feature directorial debut with Humane. Comes after months that she produced and filmed a short film for NFT with her father, David, that is now on YouTube for everyone's viewing pleasure. Wilmer Valderrama to star in reimagined Zorro TV series for Disney. Netflix acquires Jim Mickle comic book film God Country. Ben Schwartz joins Renfield with Holt and Nicolas Cage. Nicholas Holt and Nicolas Cage. Jeff Garlin let go from the Goldbergs due to constant HR investigations
I heard
for the
about
last
that.
3 years. A lot of it seems to be more about him being an inappropriate comedian. I don't know about any of the other stuff. I would feel if the other stuff was true that he would have been kicked off the show a long time ago.
Gotcha.
And not like waiting, you know what I mean? Not like waited 3 years for someone who was assaulting people. Because he came out and said that part wasn't true. Again, don't really know a lot of the facts that kind of just came out of nowhere this week.
Right.
Goonies themed TV series in the works at Disney Plus. Sam Waterston officially returning as Jack McCoy in the Law and Order revival. Blue Beetle from DC will go to theaters in August of 2023 instead of being a straight to HBO Max film. It will debut theatrically only. Yellow Jackets renewed for second season at Showtime. The Last Train to New York, which is the Train to Busan remake, hits theaters April 2023. Release is coming up soon. Marry Me with J-Lo and Owen Wilson hit theaters in Peacock day and date Valentine's Day weekend. Home Team with Kevin James and Taylor Lautner hits Netflix January 28th. Afterlife, the third and final season from Ricky Gervais, hits Netflix January 14th. If you have not watched that show, Afterlife is amazing and one of the best shows on TV. Ricky Gervais is hilarious. And it's very sad and depressing, too. So, I Want You Back with Charlie Day, Jenny Slate, Scott Eastwood, and Gina Rodriguez hits Amazon Prime February 11th. And Black Phone has been moved from February to June 24th. I assume because it's getting such good reviews that they're doing that because they want to make more money. But we'll see. Deaths this week, the only one I have written down is Vicente Fernandez, mariachi legend, dead at 81.
Anne Rice died this week too.
We mentioned that last week. Yeah, it actually happened on Sunday. So we were we were doing the podcast. Gotcha. I was like, today Anne Rice, because I think he actually died on Sunday too, but it was afterwards. So
gotcha.
So rest in peace to all those people. To that one person, and Anne Rice, I guess.
Rest in peace again, because we know she's a vampire, so she probably already popped up, and
she was. Everyone loved her as an author, and obviously people know her from Interview with the Vampire. Which is still going to be a TV show on AMC. Well, Carly, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun, dude.
Filling in for Wayne.
Anytime.
It was a little bit of a curveball this week just because he last minute let me know that he wasn't feeling well enough to do the show, which I had done to him one week and we just didn't do it that week. So I figured I'd continue the episodes. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, get well soon, Wayne. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, Wayne, hope you feel better. He should be back next week, everybody. Thank you for listening to Now Showing with Mike and Wayne. We love doing this show, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
Hasta la vista, baby.
It's never goodbye.